With this next visual, you'll see that I've put both of those statements on the right side of that diagram. And I've put the other statement on the left side of the diagram, that my feelings are coming from my thinking in the moment, just to state it succinctly, all right? And above both of those columns, I've drew a line between those because there's a logical inconsistency between the left side of that diagram and the right, and I want you to really see what I mean by that. That's why above on the visual to the left, I put one way, and above the visual on the right, I've put two ways. When I saw that there was a logical inconsistency between those two, I saw my own psychological illogic. And I started to see the psychological illogic of my fellow human beings. That it was illogical that it worked both ways. And again, every time I saw that, every time I saw that insightfully, I don't mean just intellectually, I mean I really took it in and realized the truth of that. It was helpful to me. It woke me up. One way on the left side of the diagram, thought was included in reality, in experience, in feeling. And on the right side, thought was sometimes not included. That is not true. And seeing what wasn't true, it woke me up to what was. It did something for me, and it's done something for everyone I've ever known who's ever seen that truth. And it will do something for you too. Guaranteed, because something that's true that you discover is like a North Star for you. It's like an experiential referent. It's a centering. It's a wake up. It's a meaningful moment. It's a moment of truth. Anytime you have such an experience, it's of value to you, and it's helpful to you, and it does something for you profound. There are many, many, many important implications to this truth that I'm positing right here in a very, very simple way. They're very practical, very real, very significant for you and for anyone. And I want to talk about this truth, this pre-existing truth of this relationship of thought to feeling that is like this. They're together. They are always together. We can artificially separate them like we artificially believed in a flat earth, even though it wasn't true. And that illogic, when we break with that logic and go to illogic, there's a Pandora's box of issues and ills and confusions that we subject ourselves to. Sometimes we bring it together and sometimes we break it apart. Whenever we break it apart, the illogic rules. And where that illogic starts is where your suffering begins. And where that illogic is resolved, once again, your suffering ends. So it's a very important point, and it's black and white. It's moment to moment. Your feelings are coming from your thinking in the moment, or illogically, your feelings have a life of their own. They have some relationship to something other than thinking, you're thinking in the moment. That illogic, that misunderstanding, that misconception exposes you to forces, sensations, experiences that are destabilizing and egotistical in their implications. So I want to talk about what are some of the important implications of this unity of thought and feeling, and what might we have to say about that. So I'm going to point up 4, 5, 6 of those implications just to give you an important reference or respect, or begin to deepen your knowledge about the truth of this unity between thought and feeling that's inseparable. It's inseparable. It's as inseparable. Thought and feeling are as inseparable as the round earth is to us today. That's not going to change. We're not going to go back to a flat earth or go to a square earth. We've seen it. We've even seen it from outer space. We know what it is now.